Witam serdecznie wszystkich, z tej strony Serwiśnia i lecimy z odcinkiem serii Władca Pierścieni, Wojna na północy. Także jedziemy dalej. Otóż zatrzymaliśmy się na Rivendell. I tu trochę będzie pogadanki.
Even in strange surroundings, you can trust a dwarf to find his way to a forge. You are welcome in my smithy, Farin of Ereboru.
Potrzebujemy napraw. A szczególnie ten miecz, no nie?
Even in strange surroundings, you are welcome.
I've found a few things on my travels that you might be interested in. Take a look.
Ah, these are work of Westernese, the lost land of Numenor. The men who forged these items were skilled indeed. You have the makings of a unique weapon here. Although these components were never part of a single work, I believe you have assembled everything I would need to make it so. The finished weapon would undoubtedly carry some elven
What do you mean by that?
Only that with a work such as this, the finished product is liable to reflect the nature of the smith who assembles it. If, for example, a dwarven smith were to complete this weapon,
I'd like to see what an elven smith can do. Go ahead if you're willing.
Very good. I will get... There, it is finished.
Szybko
May this
skończył.
serve you well, my friend.
I should be going.
A, poziom mam. Dobra, życie zwiększamy. Oczywiście jesteśmy w tym samym czasie, co jest drużyna pierścienia. Została stworzona właśnie.
The sun shines and all is fair and peaceful. A far cry from the blood and dust of Fornost, is it not? You and your companions did very... Indeed, things might have gone badly for us had you not been there. You have earned some time to recover from the toils of battle and I believe you will find no place better for the restoration of body and spirit.
What was it that brought you to Fornost?
We often ride far afield hunting the orcs, wherever we may find them. We came upon signs of a large band of goblins making their way from the orc hold of Mount Gram and followed their trail to Fawn, where we lost no time in attacking them.
I take it you often join forces with Aragorn.
Yes, we often venture forth in company with the Dunedain. He was raised here in our household, after all.
How is it that a man was raised here among elves?
It is a tradition for the heirs of Isildur to be fostered in the house of Elrond. We have sheltered all the chieftains of the Dunedain from
Ale
the
też się
time
fajnych
the
rzeczy można
kingdom ceased to
dowiedzieć.
be down to this present day. Aragorn is the 16th in line from father to son to spend his early years in Imladris. This is one reason why the bond between the elves and the Dunedain is so strong.
I may need a few things before I'm ready to set out. Can anyone here help me with that?
If it is provisions or other supplies you need, you should speak. And if your arms and armor need tending, seek out Angmir. Both of them may be found nearby.
I should prepare for my journey north.
Dobra. Ich mamy już z głowy. A tu nie mogę walczyć. Gimli!
Gimli, son of Glowin! This is a
Oho,
happy meeting.
Gimli!
But what
Siema.
brings you to Rivendell? What has passed for good or ill since I left the mountain?
Aye, and it's good to see you again, kinsman. I've heard of your exploits at Sarnford and Fornost. They sing your praises here. After you left to aid in the protection of the Shire, the foul messenger from Mordor returned yet again with more threats. King Dane thought it best to seek advice from Elrond. He chose Glóin to speak for him. When my father set out, I refused to be left behind, as happened with Thorin's quest. You were there at the Battle of the Five Armies, while I was
Thorin,
left to cool my
dębowa
heels at the
tarcza.
hearthside. Well, not this time. I go with the hobbit Frodo and his chosen nine, even if one of them must be a wood elf.
I know little of hobbits. What think you of this Frodo with such a burden to bear?
I know that he's Bilbo's adopted heir, and that such great folk as Elrond and Gandalf regard him with honor. He's already come far with the ring, and endured the knives of those Nazgul. That's good enough for me. He's hereabouts somewhere if you wish to speak with him.
Oczywiście, że z nim pomówimy, a jak?
Who's this wood elf you spoke of? It's a long way from the forests of Mirkwood.
Legolas is his name, a fair-haired princeling and son to King Thranduil. Elrond has chosen him to represent the kindred of elves in Frodo's party. His purpose in Rivendell was to report that they'd let a prisoner escape. An easier escape than my father had when they held him in their dungeons.
Come, Gimli, that's an old grudge, and not even your own. The elves of Mirkwood fought and died alongside us in the Battle of Five Armies, and my new friend, Andriel, has saved my hide more than once.
Tak w ogóle wasze
true
zdrówko.
enough. For Frodo's sake, I must bear the company of Legolas and make the best
Na
of
te
it.
święta.
Perhaps he won't be entirely insufferable. And besides, we've enough to worry about as it is, what with this Agandaur skulking about in the north.
The Battle of Five Armies was long and terrible, and many valiant lives were lost. Glory's of little use to the dead.
You say it as one who has won a share of glory and lived to tell of it, and doubtless will do so again. Don't begrudge me this chance to show the worth of a dwarf against hopeless odds. But in truth, it's not for glory I take this road. It's for the sake of all who lie under the shadow of the enemy.
We killed an orc chieftain and drove Agandaur from his stronghold. What worries you about the north?
Before we left, we heard that Mordor was stirring up the Easterlings. But should they be foolish enough to move against King Brand of Dale, they'll find King Dane of Erebor standing fast at his side. But every step of the way here, we heard rumor of new gatherings of orcs and goblins and worse things. And though the fearful count every enemy twice, there may be some truth to it. You found such enemies at Fornast. When Sauron strikes, there will be more than one land that feels his wrath. I fear for the Shire and Rivendell, but my heart would rest more easily.
You don't ask much, but my friends and I will do what we can. If you can bear the honor of the dwarves on your quest, I can do no less here. You have my word on it.
No i dobra. Ach, Jezus. Dobra, z Gimlim żeśmy pogadali. Jest nasz Frodo.
Hello, you are Farin, aren't you?
Ale jest podobny,
I was
no.
hoping I would get a
Fajnie
chance to speak
zrobiony.
with you.
Aye, and you must be Frodo Baggins. Aragorn and Gandalf have told me all about you, and the burden you bear.
Likewise, they have told me all about you. I wanted to thank you and your friends for all you did to keep us safe on our journey to Rivendell.
Will you tell me about your journey here? Sounds as if it were a rough one.
We had trouble almost from the start. The Black Riders were always just behind us, and we nearly met disaster in the Burrow Downs, at Bree, and again at Weathertop.
You came through the Barrow Downs? I won't soon forget that accursed place. You were lucky to come out alive. That's no place for hobbits to go a-wandering.
You seem to know a great deal about the Burrow Downs already. I'd prefer not to speak about what we found there. It is too horrible to dwell on, even here in the safety of Rivendell.
What happened to you in Bree? We must have just missed crossing paths there.
There were spies in Bree, and our room was attacked in the night. If Strider hadn't convinced us to sleep elsewhere, our journey would have ended then and there.
What happened at this place called Weathertop?
We were attacked by 5 of the Black Riders. I was foolish, and I put on the ring. One of them wounded me before Aragorn managed to drive them away. The knife that was used against me left a shard in the wound. From what Gandalf has told me, the fragment was working its way inward. Fortunately, we were able to reach Rivendell in time for Elrond's healing arts to save me.
A, pokaż pierścień. Nie.
You've got hidden strength in you. Like all your kind, it seems. I think you will do us all proud. Good luck to you, and all who go with you.
Dobra. Tu jest Gloin.
Farin, my lad, by my beard, it's good to see you again. When you left Ereboru to stand guard on the Shire, Gimli and I feared we might be seeing the last of you. Now I hear you stood with the Rangers in the battle against the Nazgul at Sarnford, and bested an orc chieftain at Fornost.
I can't take all the credit. I had Andriel, an elf of Rivendell, and the ranger, Erodan, at my back.
Reminds me of the old days when dwarves, elves and men fought together in the battle of
Właśnie
the
takie
Five
powiązania
Armies.
o tą bitwę 5 armii.
Then I've your blessing being allied with an elf?
I will speak plainly. I may be less than fond of King Thranduil's wood elves for keeping me in their dungeons, but I've no grudge with any of Elrond's.
So I've heard you say many times, but the elves fought beside us when it mattered most.
You're right, of course. I can be a stiff-necked old dwarf, but it's time to set aside grievances that were long ago repaid. When dwarves, men and elves fought together at Ereboru, we overcame legions of foes. But we face a far more terrible enemy in the Dark Lord. Standing together against Agandaur may be more than just a good...
Let's not leave out the eagles. They've been a big help to us.
Well spoken. Thorin's quest and the Battle of Five Armies would have met disaster without... You're fortunate to have gained the friendship of such noble creatures. Your life may well depend upon your choice of friends, whatever kindred they be.
And besides, it wouldn't hurt to keep Sauron a little distracted. If we keep him
Właśnie
second-guessing his plans for the
będzie.
conquest of the North, it could only help Frodo in the long run.
That's my thoughts upon the matter too. Be the stinging fly in the ointment, and it's time to be about your business.
Czyli dobra.
Welcome, dwarf of the Lonely Mountain. Welcome to Imladris. Are you in need of anything to help you in your travels? I have many things in my keeping that might serve you well.
My thanks for the welcome, lady. Might I ask your name?
No, indeed. I am Alare, one of Master Elrond's stewards. I help to manage the needs of his household, including arms and armor. I suspect you might have need of some...
I'm surprised to find elves who are so hospitable to a dwarf. Pleased, mind you, but surprised nonetheless.
In other places there may be distrust between elf and dwarf, but all who bear no ill will toward the elves are welcome here. You have already done a great deal to aid...
It's an honor to be called friend by
Mówiłem,
such
że trochę będzie
gracious
gadania.
and beautiful lady.
I was unaware that dwarves had such flattering tongues. Perhaps you should...
Pokaż mi swoje towary. Czekaj, najpierw muszę sprzedać. Ojej, o Jesus. To są te takie kamienie, one się akurat mogą przydać. No dobra. Teraz pogadamy z Bilbo.
Hello! Always happy to meet a dwarf. And one from the Lonely Mountain, if I'm not mistaken.
I am Farin of Ereboru, and we've met before, Bilbo Baggins.
Have we now? Oh, I'm afraid I don't recall. You'll have to forgive me.
We met upon your last visit to Ereboru. I guess that was near 20 years ago now. And before that, I had the honor of sharing the field with you at the Battle of Five Armies. That was my first real taste of battle. I was hardly more than a lad at the time.
Oh, yes, the Battle of the Five Armies. A nasty business, that. Personally, I'm glad those days are behind us. But then again, it seems as if they may not be. Speaking of which, I'm told that you and your friends did a great deal to help my Frodo and the Dunedain reach Rivendell safely. You'll have to tell me...
This Frodo, he is your heir, but I had not heard that you had a son.
Oh no, he's not my son. Actually, he's my first cousin once removed. And also my second cousin once removed. The poor lad was orphaned at an early age, and so I adopted him. Made him my heir, all nice and legal, while simultaneously dashing the greedy hopes of... He's a good lad, Frodo. I only wish he hadn't inherited my troubles along with my estate. I hope that Gandalf and the Dunedain...
The Dunedain? Who do you mean?
Why, Aragorn, of course. From the Elvish, Dún-Adan, man of the West. Númenorian. Around here, Aragorn is often known simply as the Dúnedain. A remarkable man, Aragorn, and a good friend. I almost wish that I could accompany him on his grand quest, but I'm far too old for adventures now. I only hope I will be spared long enough to write it.
Can you tell me how Frodo came to hold the Ring of Power?
Well, yes, that was through me, I'm afraid. I found the ring by happenstance while lost beneath the roots of the Misty Mountains. I won it. That is to say, I took it from the creature Gollum. Of course, I did not know the full story of the ring until only a few days ago. I thought it was merely a magical bauble with the power to make the wearer invisible. Imagine that old ring of mine causing such a fuss. I would gladly take charge of it again if that would help. You know, I think it...
Now you call Rivendell your home.
Well, the Shire will always be my home, I suppose. But this is the perfect place for so many things that I'm more than content to remain here. My days are mostly filled with my writing now.
What is it you write?
Oh, a little of this and a little of that. History, my past adventures, family trees. I've even begun a book of translation.
Zajął się poezją.
Maybe you could help me with that. I'm writing a poem for Aragorn, and I'm a bit stuck on a line or two.
Are you now? Well then, let me hear what you have.
Very well, very well. The verse that's giving me trouble runs like this. The light from the west is rekindled. Forth from Imladris it springs. Renewed is the hope that...
The light from the west is rekindled. Forth from Imladris it springs. Renewed is the hope that has dwindled. To challenge the Lord of the Rings.
Hey now, that's not bad. No, maybe I can work with that. You missed your calling.
The enemy won't be stopped by poetry, I'm afraid.
Oh, I'm afraid you're right, but since these old hands are not much use with the sword, I'll just keep on with the pen. Though I'll need some help. Perhaps you could show this to the Lady Arwen.
Arwen? And who is that?
Why, she's Elrond's daughter, of course, and Aragorn's beloved as well. Although you didn't hear that from me, she's a sweet lady, and I'm sure she'd be willing to give me a hand with this.
I'll take it to her.
Ah, thanks very much.
Dobra, zaniosę
Be
jej
sure
to.
to give her my compliments, won't you?
I'll be sure to do that. Farewell, Bilbo.
Ona jest tam. Arwena.
Magovanen, well met and welcome to the safe haven of Imladris.
My thanks. I'm much honored to meet you, Lady Arwen.
Durin's folk are welcome here. You have endured great danger and given us urgent warning of a new threat to the north.
Well, it was nothing, lady. It's nice of you fair folk to welcome a dwarf.
You show the modesty worthy
Może
of
to
a
będzie
hero.
taki trochę żmudny ten odcinek.
Estelle and my brothers have spoken highly of your
Więcej
courage
rozmowy
and
niż
foremost,
działania.
and I thank you for your part in... Please, take your ease and rest a while in our hall.
Estelle? Who might this person be?
Your pardon, good dwarf. It is my way to call Aragorn by the name he was given as he grew up in Imladris. Estelle means hope.
He has a long list of names, to be sure. How'd he come by that one?
It is common practice to foster the children of chieftains of the Dunedain in Imladris. Aragorn was but 2 years of age when his mother, Gilrain, brought him here after his father was slain by an orc arrow, Isildur. Elrond became like a father to him. Knowing the enemy sought ever for a living heir of Isildur, Aragorn was 20 before Elrond revealed these things to him and gave him tokens of his heritage.
If you pardon my saying so, you speak his name with an uncommon.
Long ago, I pledged myself to him beneath the golden boughs of Lothlorien, saying to him,
Jeszcze mi zostanie porozmawiać z tym Gandalfem, Aragornem, Elrondem.
For you, Estelle, shall be among the great, whose valor will destroy it. Yet there is much pain in this choice, for I am Elrond's daughter, and even should Imladris endure this war, Elrond will leave Middle-earth, and we will be parted beyond the end of the world.
I'd happily sit for a long spell in Rivendell, but Elrond set my friends and me a task to scout the Ettenmoors. We'd best be on our way soon.
Then I will not keep you, but we may be of service to one another. I am helping my father brew a potion known as Miraval. 1 sip of Miraval can renew heart and... I am in short supply of certain rare ingredients that may be
Czy
found
musimy
in the
składniki
Ettenmoors.
poszukać na
If I gave you a list of
wrzosowiskach
the
Etten.
ingredients, perhaps you could bring any you find while with enough ingredients, I will return the favor by brewing an extra flask that you may have for your own use.
No dobra, okej.
That's a generous offer, Lady Arwen. I'll keep an eye out for what you need and bring it back once I finish scouting around.
No a co z tym? A, tam jeszcze z Legolasem. Siema Legolas.
You don't look like any elf of Rivendell. I'd wager you are one of the wood elves of Mirkwood.
You are correct. I am Legolas, son of Thranduil, king of the Woodland Realm. And I believe you are a dwarf of the Lonely Mountain.
I've been through Mirkwood. It baffles me that you wood elves chose to live in such a place.
Mirkwood is the greatest woodland in all of Middle-earth. It was called Greenwood the Great, before the shadow of Sauron fell over it. In ages past, it was a place of great beauty. But now, it is filled with darkness and dread, save only in the north where my father's realm is maintained.
What brought you on such a long and perilous journey?
Unpleasant business.
Musimy jeszcze tą
My
misję
father
Bilba
sent me to
wykonać.
report the escape of Gollum, a creature Aragorn had
Żeby nie
entrusted
zapomnieć.
to our care.
What can you tell me about this Gollum?
A pathetic creature who long held the Ring of Power. The evil of the ring has left him twisted and tormented. His only thought is to recover what was taken from him.
How did Gollum manage to escape? I understood you wood elves were pretty good at holding prisoners. But this one got away?
Not from a lack of watchfulness, but perhaps from too much kindness. We occasionally allowed Gollum to go about the wood under close guard. But on one of these ventures, the guards were attacked by orcs from Dol Guldur. In the confusion, we followed his tracks southward for many leagues, until it drew near to Dol Guldur. There, it became too dangerous to pursue him any
Dol Guldur. A name of dread to my folk. What do you know of it?
A stronghold of the enemy in the south of Mirkwood. It was once the dwelling of the Dark Lord, until he was driven out in the year of the Dragon's Fall. But it has once again become a place of great evil. All the darkness that besets Mirkwood has its source in Dol Guldur.
So, will you be on your way back to Mirkwood soon?
No. I have been chosen to represent Elvenkind among the Company of the Ring. I will be accompanying the halfling, Frodo Baggins, on his journey south.
It seems a little strange that, with a house full of his own people to consider, Elrond chose you, a wood elf, to represent the elven folk in the Fellowship.
I asked for the privilege, and Elrond did not refuse me. I feel he may have been relieved not to lose any of his household to this quest. He will have need of all his strength, should the enemy move against Imladris.
Why'd you volunteer?
Partially to make amends for the loss of Gollum, but more so because this will be the final chapter in our long struggle against the darkness. And I wish to have a hand in our final victory. Or at least, to stand in the forefront of our lot.
Good luck to you, Legolas.
Good luck. No. Zmywaj się. Gdzieś chyba na górze był ten Aragorn. To? To.
Ah, Farin. I am glad you are here. I feel I must apologize to you. When I was told a dwarf had appeared on the borders of the Shire asking to join the Dunedain in their watch, I was suspicious. I instructed Halbarad to keep a careful eye upon you, fearing you were a spy. Clearly he grew to trust you, and after all you have done, I have as well. I am sorry to have doubted you, my friend.
I'd like to know more about those chosen to be part of your fellowship.
Who is it that interests you?
Tell me about the Wood Elf, Legolas.
It is fitting that we have a representative of the Eldar, the Elves, along with us on this venture. They have been foes of Sauron since before the ancestors of the Dunedain first returned to the shores of Middle-earth. Legolas is keen of eye and ear, and he is unmatched as a bowman. His arrows seldom miss their mark.
What about this man of Gondor, this Boromir?
Boromir is the son of Denethor, the steward of Gondor. I had never met him before Elrond's council, but long years ago, under another name, I served his grandfather Ecthelion. The men of Gondor are valiant and strong, and by all accounts Boromir is foremost among them in courage and skill at arms. I suspect we will have need of his sword before our quest is through.
At least you will have a dwarf along with you, and one of the best too. You won't find a better companion than Gimli, son of Glóin.
I have only just met Gimli, but I hope he will prove to be much like you, stout-hearted and reliable, and a terror to his enemies in battle.
What about these other hobbits? Is it wise to send so many of the little folk on this quest?
We are asking much of Frodo. Until recently, he had never set foot outside the confines of the Shire. It will be a comfort for him to have the familiar companionship of his friends and kin, in the face of so much that will be new and frightening. I have traveled with these hobbits, and they proved far more courageous and hardy than many would suspect.
What about Gandalf? What can you tell me of him?
To know all there is to know of Gandalf would require a lifetime study. There is much about him that remains a mystery. Yet he is a relentless foe of Sauron, and without his vigilance the ring would already be in the hands of the enemy. His wisdom and leadership will be of great value to the Fellowship.
So, you go now to claim the throne of Gondor?
Above all, I go to help Frodo fulfill his quest. For unless the ring is destroyed, Gondor will soon fall, king or no king.
Word is you've traveled a great deal. Is there anything you can tell me of the Ettenmoors?
Only that it is a dangerous and unforgiving place. My own grandfather Alador was slain by trolls in the Ettenmoors. It is important we learn if the enemy is active in the moors, but we do not send you there lightly. Be on your guard at all times while you venture there.
Good luck to you.
No dobra. Gandhi.
Ah, Farin. It is good of you to seek me out. You're a stout dwarf, like all of Durin's folk.
What's Agandaur after? There are no mighty kingdoms to be found on this side of the Misty Mountains. What's Sauron afraid of here?
Sauron seeks dominion over all of Middle-earth. His desire is to order all things as he sees fit. Even were these lands empty from here to the sea, still he would seek to control them. There is power in Rivendell that could stand against him when all others fall. For a time. And this...
I came all the way from the Lonely Mountain to help guard the Shire. Should I abandon what I set out to do?
You fulfilled your oath and protected the Shire when you were needed there, my good dwarf. Now you're needed more urgently elsewhere.
O Boże,
With the flight of the ring in this direction, the enemy is looking this way and has forgotten the Shire for now. For now. But eventually his eye will turn once again toward the Shire. Hobbits as miserable slaves would please him far more than hobbits happy and free. And there is such a thing as malice and revenge. Sauron will leave the final devastation of the Shire to his servant Agandaur. And that is yet another reason why you must find him and put
Wiesz,
an
mam
end to
piękną
his
brodę.
designs. In opposing Agandaur, you are defending the Shire.
We had one of the great eagles lend us a hand, Claw, at Fornost. Right-handy he was, too. I was thinking he might help us get rid of the ring.
I don't fault you for thinking along those lines. Why not beg a ride from an eagle, fly far out to the west, and drop the ring? Such ideas were debated at Elrond's council. But there are many things in the deep waters, and seas and lands may change.
This orc lover, Agandaur, do you know anything about him?
Well, I know nothing of Agandaur himself. I have seen his kind at other times in distant lands.
Well, that doesn't sound good. Just what we need, a sorcerer with a 5,000-year-old grudge against all free folk.
Who can say what promises Sauron has made to him? Perhaps even a ring of his own. At the very least, Agandaur expects the elves he will seek to utterly destroy. Hobbits, men, dwarves, any that survive, will be enslaved. And he will raise an iron kingdom in the north, in mockery of the... This is his dark dream.
When we first spoke, you said you recently passed through the Ettenmoors. Can you tell me anything more of them?
It is a rough and empty land, home to many trolls. I passed through with great haste, for I needed to reach Rivendell as quickly as I could.
I have things that need doing. Goodbye, Gandalf.
Dobra. Jeszcze z Elrondem.
Greetings to you, Farin. Many times in the past have I welcomed your kin to my home. The bond between our kindred has at times been shaken, yet it has never been broken. Always before, I have placed my trust in Durin's folk, and never have they betrayed it. You will always be welcome here in Imladris, my friend. Yet I am certain you did not come here merely to exchange pleasantries. That is not the dwarven way.
I found this scroll at Fornost. I think maybe you should take a look at it.
A wise decision. This is writ in the black speech of Mordor, a language I will not utter here. It is intended to instruct the reader in the use of dark sorceries.
What is the black speech?
A language devised by Sauron when he desired a single tongue to be spoken by all who serve him. He had small luck introducing it to the scattered tribes of orcs and trolls, but it is still used by his highest-ranking servant.
We faced orcs at Fornost who used spells against us.
Then it seems this has already been put to use. That is grim news. The Dark Lord is a master of necromancy and other foul sorceries. He has taught these abominations to men in the past, but never, to my knowledge, to orcs.
I don't like the sound of that word, necromancy. What is it?
Necromancy is the darkest form of sorcery. It deals with raising the dead.
The Dark Lord has this power?
He does indeed. It was for this reason he was known as the Necromancer when he still dwelt in the fortress of Dol Guldur in Mirkwood. At that time we did not know this. Have you not experienced this power firsthand in your journey through the Borrow Downs? It was Sauron's chief servant, the Witch King.
I was told that many of the men buried in those tombs were the Dunedain. How is it that Sauron can make them forget their past loyalties?
These shades are not truly the dead returned to life. Not even Sauron has that power. It is accomplished through the summoning of
Good thing we captured this, then. What will you do with it?
I will destroy this scroll, at the very least. But wait, here I discover more. Listen to what is written herein. Scribed by the hand of Agandaur, disciple of the great Lord Sauron, for the empowerment of his servant Wulfrun and those others of his faithful who prove worthy. I will speak no more of these blasphemies, but it does say...
Well, maybe we should turn the tables on the enemy by making use of this scroll ourselves.
Have a care, warrior of Erebor. You tread on dangerous ground when you harbor such thought. This, like all works of the enemy, is altogether evil. Any who make use of this, even from a desire to do good, will...
You're right. I'd rather trust in a good strong axe than black magic anyway. So what should we do with this?
I will destroy this scroll at the very least. Listen to what is written herein. I will speak no more of these blasphemies, but it does say that this scroll is one of 7 such works.
Seems like Agendaur could have written a whole lot more than just 7.
Perhaps, but creating something of
Czyli
this
chyba
nature
musimy
is
je
not
też
a matter
odnaleźć, z
of
tego co
simple
pamiętam.
scribing. Considerable preparation and effort. We have reason to hope there are no more than...
So there are 6 more of these accursed things.
No
Maybe
właśnie.
we can find them all.
That would be a great
You can count on that.
In the meantime, please accept this in appreciation for bringing this matter.
One more thing. I found this book hidden away in the ruins of Fornost.
Ah, now this is writing of an altogether more wholesome sort. This was not made by any minion of Sauron, but rather by the men of Arthedain, likely before the fall of Fornost.
Tell me about this realm of Arthedain.
Arthedain was the last fragment of the great northern kingdom of Arnor. The heirs of Isildur ruled as kings of Arthedain, until it too was...
But according to the rangers at the Sarn Ford, the line of their kings did not end.
It is true Isildur's line has remained unbroken. But without a kingdom to rule, they have not claimed the title of king, and have been known simply as chieftains of the Dunedain. It is our friend Aragorn who currently bears that title.
So you think this book is a record from those days? You could be right, for we found it in a chamber that had been long sealed. Can you make out any of the writing?
Indeed. It seems to be a personal journal. And here is a name inscribed.
Malbeth. Never heard of him.
Many of the Dunedain race are gifted with foresight, but none more than Malbeth. He predicted the final destruction of the kingdom of Arthedain, which befell exactly as he had foretold. I will examine this work carefully. Who knows what other visions are here recorded. You did well in bringing this to me.
Is there anything more you can tell me about this mission to the Ettenmoors?
Only that the Ettenmoors are a dangerous place at the best of times. The danger will be that much greater if the orcs and trolls are being organized by an outside force. You and your friends will need to have your wits about you.
If we do find the enemy mustering there, what should we do about it?
Jak to
You
co?
will have to
Rozwalić.
determine your best course of action.
Ciach, ciach,
When
ciach i
dealing with the
hejo.
foul
Nie.
folk, it is always wise to eliminate any strong leader you may find. If the enemy is mustering in the Ettenmoors, try to recover any clues that may help us determine...
Who could raise such a muster?
Agendaur would be my first guess, but it could also be a strong orc chieftain, or perhaps an unusually cunning troll. At worst, one or more of the Nazgul may have made...
Whatever may be happening there, you will know of it. Farewell, Master Elrond.
No. Dobra, zobaczymy co on tu ma.
Even in strange surroundings,
Dobra,
you are
fajnie.
welcome.
Aha, czyli nic nie mogę kupić.
Even in strange, you are welcome.
Seems like you're preparing.
My fellow smiths and I are preparing for a...
What can you tell me of this sword, Narsil?
Narsil, it was to
Dobra.
remain...
What do you mean by imbue?
Simply that certain objects have inherent virtues. Sadly.
Maybe I can lend a hand with that. I'll be traveling.
I would be pleased to have your help. I will provide... but to be of use.
O Boże.
I should be go.
Dobra, dosyć tego, bo już za dużo.
Well met, Farin. I continue to brew Miraval.
Bilbo asked for help with a poem. I'm fond enough of the dwarvish sort of poetry, but this elvish verse is beyond me.
Then it must be about Estelle. He is fond of writing verses in honor of his good. You may leave it with me, Farin.
Thank you, that's a relief. It's not for a dwarf to be writing line. By your leave...
Nie wiem, czy ja muszę do niego wracać. No.
Greetings! I hope the Lady Arwen will have some good suggestion.
Do all hobbits share your love of...
Yes, I suppose so, although usually I'll...
But you were writing a poem about...
well, although I doubt I will ever...
Well, you'll never...
Dobra. No, odsuń się. Jestem ciekaw, ile zeszło na to... A, zadanie zaliczone. Aha, no dobra. No dobra. Odcinek trwa 41 minut. Ja pierdolę. Dobra. Także to był niestety najżmudniejszy będzie to odcinek. Ale nie chciałem tego w sumie pomijać, żeby też nie było. Także już na następny odcinek już będzie lepiej, już będzie walka i tak dalej. Także cóż. Do zobaczenia następnym razem. Siema, czołem. Piona.